2023 Kia EV6. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology, but with performance that minimizes the impact of our environment. Billboard Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillboardKia.com. We make it easy to switch to EV ownership that gives you the peace of mind you can trust. Offer from Kia Finance for the purchase of a new 2023 Kia EV6 with $1,837 per month for $1,000 finance for 60 months. Quality's limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Billboard Kia warranty. See dealer for details. Offer for well-qualified buyers must take delivery from dealer stock through 5/1/23.
Chuck was terrible at fishing. He spent many frustrating hours attempting to get results he saw from internet videos, aggravating trial and error fishing trips, and misguided advice from well-intended friends. Chuck is happy now with his newfound success after he visited Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, where we keep fishing fun, simple, and successful. See us soon at Bay Breeze Bait and Tackle, located directly off Highway 98 on the west end of Panama City Beach.
Our connections make powerful things happen, uniting individuals and communities. We are Rotary. We are people of action. And together, we turn great ideas into reality by accessing our networks, our experience, and the best of ourselves to make a difference. Around the world, Rotary brings leaders together to build new friendships and to solve problems. Like in Austria, where generations work side by side to build sustainable housing and community centers. In India, volunteers run a mobile blood bank to help provide a steady blood supply for their local community. And in Taiwan, people are working hard to get vulnerable citizens the support and services they need. With over 1 million members, we know what people can do when they come together. Take action with us. Find out more at Rotary.org/action.
The strength of America, our values, our way of life hasn't just been won on the battlefield. It's won every day in our communities when we come together, extending hands of compassion, service, and hope to those who need it most. For over 100 years, the American Legion has been strengthening communities across our nation by providing life-saving help and support to our veterans and neighbors during times like we're facing today. It's what the Legion's all about. From blood drives to distributing food, from responding to emergencies and protecting the most vulnerable among us. Our mission is making America's communities stronger.
We are one family, and therefore we care.
We are the American Legion, veterans strengthening America. To learn how you can help, visit legion.org.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WTOT, W271DN Mariana, WVLQ Port St. John, powered by Pepsi, ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. It's 104.3 in Panama City, 102.1 in Mariana, and 101.9 in Port St. Joe. I'm David Hayes, along with Tyler Bishop and James Fife. Max DeLayden will be here shortly. Hope everyone had a great Monday evening. A lot of sports going on, and we're in that time of the year where NBA and NHL is king. I mean, you still got a lot of baseball going on, and that's particularly what I keep my eyes on. But with the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, you got to check into those as well. So we'll be going over that. We'll go over some of the news that's popping off in the NFL. Jalen Hurts with 2 surgeries since the Super Bowl, which is wild. And then yesterday getting the big deal. We'll get Tyler's thoughts on that.
Got a hot take for y'all on that.
Okay, so good, good.
I'll bring it.
Let me just recap or cover what we're going to be going over today. We're going to have your mortgage minute with Max. In the next segment, we'll go over he wants to play buy or sell with some of the teams, their records, if he's buying or selling, what they've got going on right now. We've also got 3 pretty big rule changes that Major League Baseball is going to be using in the Atlantic League and see if they want to do how they did with the pitch clock, the large bases, all of that stuff, and bring it up to the league. There's one rule in particular that I'm actually interested in.
Is the other two point now they're like, oh, we had a few rule changes that worked out, so let's just keep throwing stuff out there and see what sticks. Like
they go out there and they watch Little League games and they're like, who's not paying attention to the game here? And so they go over to the playground and they're like, all right, what would you like to see changed with the game? Oh, that means a lot to us because you're busy playing while you should be watching the game. So yeah, very interesting. 3 rules. We'll go over that as well at 4:20 or 4:40. 4:40 today is going to be traffic jam and trivia. Andrew Weiss, Tampa Bay Lightning brand development ambassador, will join us at the top of hour number 2 to preview the NHL playoffs. We'll get in some college football with Tyler Bishop at 5:20 and wrap it up with our Barbaritos local update. All right. So before I get into my little spiel and talk about Draymond Green and all of that good stuff, Jalen Hurts, largest contract value annually speaking now. What's your hot take here with Jalen Hurts?
Man, I saw those numbers come out yesterday, and $50 million for Jalen Hurts. And I'm not saying the guy's a bad player. I'm not saying that he seems like a great person, a great teammate. But I'm not sure how much of that's not the product of Philadelphia. And I said yesterday, I'd rather have Danny Dimes for $40 million than Jalen Hurts for $50.
Whoa. Run that back one more time and just say it a little bit slower so my slower mind can process that. You'd rather have...
For $10 million, I'd rather have Danny Dimes than Jalen Hurts.
So you'd rather have a first-round exit than a run to the Super Bowl for $10 million.
But you're assuming that's all on the quarterback, though.
You're right. That is a large assumption.
You take Danny, swap them for teams. I don't think there's
let's go there.
Swapping teams.
Yeah. All right.
I don't think there's a huge difference.
I think there is.
I think there is. We'll never know. But
no, of course we'll never know, and I love that.
I think
I love
similar
that
production.
I love that take though. I do think if you put Daniel Jones on, I guess it's not so easy to say that it would be that different. You know what I mean? Because you think about taking Daniel Jones and putting him on the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, now you've given him the best receiving core that he's ever had. Where does he lose out a little bit on is the running back position, right? There's nobody over there in Philly. Now, all 3 of the backs in Philly can kind of take up some of the work that Saquon Barkley does. But with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, Quez Watkins, that is definitely a better receiving core for Daniel Jones. Maybe I'm just biased in thinking that I think that it's the work ethic for me that drives Jalen Hurts over the top, and just seeing coming into the league and it's like, you're not a good passer. You're never going to be a good passer. And he's kind of proved people wrong. He still has the mobility, but he had a great passing year last year. That would be interesting. And we can just continue roundtabling this. So, Max, what do you think? If you flip-flop Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts, this is a hot take, a hot question.
Agree with Tyler. I think I'm going to disagree though here. I think it's worth it for Hurts. I know it's a big time situational thing, but I don't know. I think Daniel Jones, you could see a lot of his limitations still in New York with Dable, but maybe that too was because he didn't have the best receiving core.
His best receiver, technically or financially speaking, was Kenny Galladay, and what did he get, like 50 minutes worth out of him?
I was going to say, does Kenny Galladay ever play more than like 4 games a season?
Oh, with Detroit.
Kenny Galladay's got
12 games.
He's got less touchdown passes for the Giants than their starting left tackle has. So that's all you got to know about Kenny Galladay.
He went on the Alshon Jeffrey trajectory really quick, where he played like 6 games.
I liked Alshon Jeffrey, man.
As a Bama fan, I'm kind of surprised. He was a big part of that upset in 2010 with Spurrier.
South Carolina.
100%. But when he got to the league, you know how it is, right? Like you can Cadillac Williams. I did not like him at all when he was a college running back. Gets to the league, love him. Cam Newton, despised him. Gets to the league, and it's like, awesome. I think that he's going to be a really good quarterback, and he was for 5-6 years, and still feels like he's one of the top 32. So I don't hold the anger over once a kid, especially the way that the Titans draft, because they seem to be in love with just Southeastern Conference players in general.
Yeah, I have a personal vendetta with Alshon just with the Bears stuff, because he left the Bears on really bad terms. And after that Eagles game, I was at that game, the double doink game.
Yeah.
And he was doing a lot of stuff towards the crowd, and I was like, all right, buddy. So I'm not a big fan of Alshon.
Yeah, Caveman Rick says Alshon Jeffrey was huge in 2017 for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl that year with Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's such an interesting question. Had no idea that you were going to be even bringing that up today, and I still think that I'd ride with Jalen Hurts. But then when you go to the opposite side, right? We kind of listed the pros of what it would be for Daniel Jones, but then you take Jalen Hurts. This is where it gets even more interesting to me. You take Jalen Hurts and you put him on the New York Giants, and you say, okay, yeah, you got Saquon Barkley, you got Brian Daboll, you have some pieces there. You've got dogs, right? You've got guys who want to be dogs, who are doggish, but I don't think that I don't know if that's another game or two in the right direction adding Jalen Hurts. So then I think that by the way that I'm processing all of this, the denominator is the Giants. I just don't believe in what the Giants have in totality, but did they not do enough last year to kind of prove that they're headed in the right direction? Well, yeah, I think that they're going in the right direction, but I don't know if Jalen Hurts takes the Giants from what were they last year, 9 and 8?
Probably.
So does that take them to put them in the 11-win stratosphere? I don't necessarily
keep in mind,
know.
I'm not saying Jones is better than Hurts, but I'm saying for a $10 million in savings, I'm not sure that it's that big of a gap in quarterback play.
But then what do you do with that $10 million?
I mean, that also depends on things too. You know, if you're not going to spend that $10 million properly, then obviously that's a big deal. But I think the Eagles right now are proven to be a well-run franchise. I mean, obviously they made the Super Bowl run with Wentz. They made a Super Bowl run last year. So you would have to imagine, and if you look at the way the contract's structured for the team, it's structured in a great way for the cap. Their biggest cap hit is the last year of the contract for $31 million. So it's not even going to be the full 50 or anything like that. So it's still a good cap hit for the team. So you'd have to trust that they'd spend that $10 million wisely. Like I said, I know most people won't agree with me. It's just I like Jalen Hurts. I just don't know if I've seen enough for him to be a $50 million.
1 year, 1 year of production.
Bad too for passing on that.
Well, especially they start saying they start comparing the numbers that he was allegedly offered in September, and it's as good, if not better, than what Jalen Hurts just got. It's like, how are you not okay with that? How are you saying that the Ravens are undervalued? It's like that's a
So from
$200 million guaranteed or something like that?
From Twitter, Sarah Ellison, total value for Jalen Hurts was $255 million. For Lamar Jackson, $250 million. Full guaranteed at signing for Jalen was $110 million, but for Lamar Jackson, $23 million more at $133. Total guaranteed, $179 for Jalen and $200 for Lamar, which is only $30 million off of an unreasonable deal in the first place with Deshaun Watson. So if you're chasing Casper, if you're chasing a ghost, you're not going to catch him. If the NFL owners don't want this to happen and you're the lone quarterback who's kind of sticking his neck out there without an agent, might we add, maybe you need to talk to Jalen Hurts.
He's got his mom.
Well, no doubt, but maybe you need to talk to Jalen and get in touch with the agent who, I forgot her name right now.
That's such a cool story, too.
Yeah, it is a really cool story.
She reached out to him on Instagram and shot her shot as his agent.
So she needs to shoot her shot to Lamar then and get things going in the right direction. I understand the notion of wanting to keep it all in the family or keep as much as you can in the family, but if you're losing out on $10 to $20 million, that's about as much as what you would have paid your agent in the first place for the entirety of your deal.
But then at this point, if he was offered that contract, so very similar, comparable contract, you could argue better in some aspects. Like, unless the agent's going to convince him to take it, what's the point of hiring an agent? Apparently, he got offered the same amazing deal. He just thought it wasn't good enough. Like, unless the agent's going to be able to talk him off that ledge, the agent's not going to be able to do anything at this point.
That's a good point.
I'm sure they might have had some gotchas in the contract, though.
I mean, maybe. But
I feel like teams take advantage of that when a guy doesn't have an agent.
I mean, there's a possibility. I mean, that's a good chance. But then at that point, even if you don't have an agent, I'm sure he's got a lawyer that he could hire to kind of read through it. But it just seems like a poor choice. Like I said, at that point, he got the offer. He just didn't accept it. And it's hard to feel bad for him at that point.
It's crazy to me, too, how much the NFL quarterback market, obviously quarterbacks have always been paid a premium, has changed, in the past
drastically.
Yeah.
You go from Matt Stafford to Matt Ryan, right?
Kirk Cousins thing was a awful deal at the time, and now his cap hit next year is $20 million. That looks like a great deal now. I mean, his average salary throughout the deal was $35, but I know the game's changed, but I still would rather have Kirk Cousins passing the ball than Daniel Jones.
Yeah, they've. That's an issue. I mean.
He's a really good passer.
At 1 p.m., I'm all about Kirk Cousins. Let's go.
Well, he gets faulted for the Vikings, too. There's so much organizational flaw there. If Daboll is running that team and they had a better defense, that's a really talented team. I mean, we saw
Are the Giants better with Kirk Cousins? We can do the same exact thing as what we just kind of did.
Is he going to be better without having Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen?
Right. No, that's my other.
But they also
that's the
structure. around the guy. I don't know. It's tough.
It is tough, but I don't know if Kirk. Here's my thing. As of right now, of the 3 quarterbacks, especially if I have the caveat of all of my games outside of a Thursday night game and one other prime game, let's say I got 15 games that are in the 1 o'clock slot. Oh, it's Kirk Cousins. Out of all 3 of those, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, it's Kirk Cousins.
And a lot of those in that narrative, though, he gets really screwed by his defense. They've had a terrible defense for so long, and Zimmer was an awful coach.
Yeah, but at that on the flip side of that, one of the best games of the entire NFL season last year was the Vikings and the Bills.
Yeah.
That wasn't Kirk Cousins that won that game. The
he had some pretty dang good passes in that game.
No, 100%.
Kirk Cousins truther, but I got to give him credit where credit's due.
Well, I guess what I was trying to do was stick up for the defense.
Oh, yeah,
in
like
that
making
game.
Allen.
But honestly, you could almost flip that around and put that on Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator for the Bills, because what in the world are you doing calling a quarterback sneak at that particular instance?
That's tough.
That is redonkulous.
Table would never.
Yeah, Table would never have done that.
Back to Max's point a minute ago, though, is I was listening to an NFL radio series show the other day, and they were talking about how the quarterback market is escalating at a faster pace than the salary cap. And then how eventually, like, it's almost kind of like we're talking about like real world economics and financing, like that inflation goes up and then eventually it's got to fall out somewhere. And so, between them and pass rushers, the premium they're getting paid, it's getting to the point like you're having to rely on like 5th round guys to fill out the rest of your roster on the defensive line because you can only afford to pay one of these guys. So it's interesting to see like where this caps out. But with baseball, there's no salary cap.
That's what I'm saying. This ain't baseball.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see where, because like I said, they're like, it's escalating very quickly and the salary cap's not keeping up right now. And so you're
going to have these $100 million quarterbacks coming soon, and they're going to have to be playing essentially by themselves. Like, hey, guy who just got done playing USFL or XFL football, would you mind coming and playing on the same exact contract that you had at the USFL or XFL and come to the big leagues? Man, that could definitely be interesting, man. Following the money is... That's a hard thing to continuously do, and that's why I'm so thankful to have Max on here with us, because a lot of the times you have really good insight on what's going on with contracts and all of that good stuff as well. It's hard. What's that?
I'm a bean counter.
Yeah, in the wise words of old school. In the world. So last night, NBA playoffs, Draymond Green with the stomp heard round the world, if you will, on Domantas Sabonis, going full heel on him. Do you have any takeaways from that? Do you think that Sabonis maybe held on to the leg a little long?
It's not his fault, because I think more than anything, you're protecting yourself there. And Draymond's done that so many times to people, to Jaylen Brown. I especially remember that. And then a few other times, too, where he does then pulls the person down. So kind of got a taste of his own medicine. You can't let your emotions go at that. And in game 1, too, he screwed up. I don't know. Like, at some point, like, get it together, guy. You're a veteran.
Do you think he should be suspended? And if so, I don't think so either. My thinking on it, and I didn't watch this live either. Got home from softball around 10.
Because 90s NBA, that's a flagrant one, right? You're still in the game.
Yeah. So for me, I think the right call. I'm okay with the ejection there. I don't think there should be any more suspension. I do think, though, watching the video, I'd say I watched the little 6-7 second snippet probably 50 times, just because I was like, let me watch it again. Because there is something, and I like I love Domantas Sabonis, because he played over there with the Pacers, and he was one of the guys that I was like, man, this is a guy that you build around, though, because you can put a superstar next to him. He's a star in his own right, in my opinion, you know what I mean? But you put a superstar around him, and I don't think that his ego changes. You know what I mean? Like, he's a guy that can be a great number 2.
And he got a lot of unfair criticism just for being traded in that Tyrese Halliburton trade, and it's obviously paid its dividends for the Kings more than anything.
Look at what the Kings are doing right now.
Light the beam.
Yeah, light the beam. 2 games in a row. But yeah, there was a tinge, if you will, of me thinking that Domantas kind of held on to that leg just a little bit too long. I don't think that it warrants necessarily a stomp like that, but at least it was just one. Just kind of, it wasn't even like a full stomp, really. It was more like what is that thing called when like our moms probably back in the day used to do, like when they'd put the VCR and they'd put the VHS and the VCR, and then they'd do the little exercise videos where they'd be stepping up on the little stool or whatever
Yeah.
it was. Yeah, that's what it was kind of like. It wasn't too
most
bad.
of our moms probably don't weigh the same as Draymond Green, though.
Well,
or if I were playing
I'm
that
just
for us,
saying.
I'm not.
I'm saying it didn't
My
seem
mom's
like
5'2", 105, so.
I'm just saying the force of the stomp though. Like if Draymond would have really stomped, he could have
Done some damage.
DeMontis.
I mean, it didn't look like it felt good. Like
No, I'm not trying to say
I think it's still like 7 or 8 out of 10 power of stomps there.
Yeah. Oh no, I'll give it a 6.
Yeah, I get it.
Oh man, he stomped kind of hard.
Kinda right, but he didn't like. It wasn't no curb stomp. He wasn't.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
it was a firm stomp though.
Like
I guess we have different
a 6.
pain grades there.
Well, neither one of us are feeling it because if we're feeling it, it's a 10.
Yeah,
it's a 10 out of 10, not even close. But for me, I'm just saying I feel like he could have stomped a little bit harder. Maybe we'll just have to tune in to Game 3 to find out more.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me too though. This is the first time Steph's ever been down 0-2 in a playoff series.
That is wild.
Like you would have thought at like some point. I know they've had the dynasty and have been an incredible franchise for 8 years
But still,
now.
you'd think it would just. I mean, they've been to the playoffs so often, played in so many games, like so many series.
At some point,
you just kind of assume it would have had to have happened, but
no.
Yeah.
And it's still far from over too, going back to Golden State.
Especially going back to Golden State. Jordan Poole, some of the other role players are going to be a little bit more comfortable at the
and
house
Steph hasn't
as
been
well.
awesome.
Yeah, no doubt
Down
about
the
that.
crunch, I mean.
And it's kind of like last year as well, where they were just getting back to 100%, getting back to full health, closer to the playoffs. You know what I mean? So he
Yeah.
hasn't gotten into that full Steph Curry rhythm that we all know and love.
It's funny seeing Deladova on the bench too, because he's got that PTSD from hounding Steph in 2016.
Oh man! In the world of the Kings last night win 114-106, so that puts them up 2-0 on the Golden State Warriors. The Sixers with a big win last night, and what's more impressive about this win for me, or in my opinion, anyways, is Joel Embiid and James Harden only combining for 28 points, and you still win 96-84. So they're kind of, it's that first round of the NBA playoffs. It's not like the NHL playoffs where you really don't know what's going to happen in the first round, right? Because the game of hockey is just so different. Whereas in the NBA playoffs, I'm not saying that you don't know, but
You've only got a couple series where you're really questioning, like Lakers, Grizzlies, Kings, Warriors.
But the Lakers are one of the favorite
they're favored
in that series,
especially without Ja. The Grizzlies are just average.
That's so true too. But good news on his hand though. So as long as the pain isn't too bad and he
if
can
Giannis
tolerate
is
it,
still beat up.
then
the
Heat series, the Cavaliers Knicks series.
That was a good Game 1 win for the Knicks. I was really happy to see.
Who do you want to win that series?
The Knicks.
You want the Knicks to win because Donovan was supposed to go there?
No.
Oh.
Mostly just because when I grew up playing basketball, I played against Brunson. So
I
want to see him keep winning. And it's kind of funny after leaving Dallas and getting out of Dodge that him and Hart are reunited in New York. And I think on paper, honestly, I took the Knicks money line Game 1. I think they're a better team straight up. So.
Okay, cool. I mean, the Cavaliers definitely made some waves. Did you think that roster was going to be as good as what they have shown to be this year?
No, and I thought they kind of had a similar vibe to the Kings, but the Kings are obviously way better than the Cavs. I mean,
and I would like to see, and I don't think the rest of the NBA world would, but I would like to see a Cavs-Kings series.
Oh, me too, but I don't think we'll...
Kings anyone. I want to see the Kings in the finals.
And even though the Suns are down, I know they're still the favorites to get through, but man, I think the general population is way too high on Devin Booker. I do not think he's got that killer instinct. I know that sounds like an old guy talking about it, but he gets so passive in any big game.
If you're not going to have that killer instinct, it definitely is beneficial to be on a team with Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it's the same way for LeBron. What have we always said about his career? Is that if LeBron had that killer instinct, and I'm not saying he does have it.
He's still a clutch shooter, even though what people say.
Exactly.
Look at it.
But if he had that dog in him, it's kind of a good thing that he doesn't, because I don't want to say he's obviously got the dog in him, but if he had that killer instinct and it mirrored Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, then there wouldn't even be a conversation about the GOAT. You know what I mean? It really wouldn't, because that's one of the things.
He's at fault for being a nice guy some of the time.
I mean, for real though, but it's kept that conversation alive, and in a sense, it's helped this next generation of basketball. That's just my opinion, though. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. This is ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, it's time to chat a little baseball. We'll have your Mortgage Minute with Max.
Welcome to the house. It's time for the Afternoon Underdogs.
It's happening. Wow. It's on right now.
Opinionated and unfiltered. The hot takes, the rants, and the sports talk you crave.
Give it to me.
ESPN Northwest Florida. ESPN Northwest Florida. The tradition continues.
That ball's going to be out of here.
America's team plays here.
Bombs away.
The Atlanta Braves are back and making a statement.
Ronald Acuna just clobbered one to left.
Listen to Atlanta Braves baseball in a rich audio experience live on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here comes the thunder.
Sponsored by Goldberg Kia, Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, Mid-South Lumber, Stormore Portable Buildings, and Brock Pest Control.
My weather forecast overnight, mostly